Hi, it's me again, Renee Pearson, and this is part 2 of the layer mask tip. Now, in the last video, you recall that I dragged a layer with a layer mask into a Photoshop Elements document. And then I used the brush tool to mask away some parts of my photo. Remember, black conceals and white reveals. But what I want to show you today is another tool that I really like to use when I'm making selections, especially when I'm trying to select images of people out of a photo. I like this tool much better than the Magic Extractor even. And it's called the Quick Selection tool. So I'll click that tool, and you just want to make sure that you select the appropriate brush size that you need. I've got 42 pixel hard round brush selected, but you can make that any size you need it to be, and you just want to make sure it's not larger than the subject that you're trying to select. So you can just start to click here within your document, and you can even click and drag as I'm doing here. And Photoshop, in all its smartness, knows what I'm trying to do. And you can see it's selecting her little snowsuit. And I'm just going to come on down here and select her shoes as well. And that's about it for now. I'm not going to spend the amount of time I would ordinarily spend on a selection, but I just want to show you how this works. So now that I have my subject selected, what I want to do is remove or conceal everything around her. Now I have my selection of what is inside, but what I need to do is invert this so that it will select everything outside of her. And to do that, you can come up to the menu bar and select Inverse, or you can use the shortcut key Shift-Command-I on a Mac, Shift-Control-I on a PC, and it will invert the selection so that now what's outside of her is selected. Then I want to come over to my Layers palette, and remember, I need to make sure that I'm working in the layer mask thumbnail and not the image thumbnail or the layer thumbnail. I also want to make sure that my foreground color is black because I want to conceal. Then the next thing I'm going to do is select the the paint bucket here in the toolbox. And now all I need to do is pour the black paint into the layer. And there you have it. Now what's this little hazy area here? Well, that's the area that I was using the brush with. And the brush was a soft round brush, so it had feathered some of the areas. I can just choose a hard round brush here to get rid of it if I want to. There's one. And I'll just do that, just so you can see how that works. I'm not going to erase the whole thing or remove the whole thing, but there you go. Now here's the cool thing. There really isn't a single tool in Photoshop or Photoshop Elements that you click once and then you've got your selection. It just doesn't work that way with complex selections. It usually takes one or two other tools. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. First, I'm going to make sure that I zoom in on my subject, and the thing that I want to do is work on the little hand part here. So again, working in my layer mask, remember, black conceals, white reveals. I'm going to flip the foreground and background colors and go back to using the brush tool, and I'm going to just start to paint her hand back in, and you can see she's holding her little shovel here. In fact, I'm not going to even worry about being too accurate because I can get that back in, and then if I flip my foreground and background colors, I can go back and start to paint the excess out. And as you can see, I can start to get down to the fine detail edges, and all I have to do is just make my brush smaller and smaller and smaller. Let me put it here so you can see it. Smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until I'm really working with some detail. You might even want to zoom in closer when you're doing that. But there you go. Another quick and easy and very, very useful thing that you can do with layer masks. Hope you liked it. Bye.